Yeah, Hare Krishna. Today's class is given by His Grace Pran Govinda Prabhuji. Prabhuji is talking Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Leela, chapter 200, 101 onwards. Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Please take over the call, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you, Mata. Everybody can hear me, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, so we'll start singing Jai Radha Madhava and then I would like to sing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's because it's Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karamari. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karamari. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karamari. Tuma bina ke dayalo jagat samsare. Tuma bina ke dayalo jagat samsare. Patita pavana Abhayavatar Patita pavana hetu Abhayavatar Mosamapatita Prabhu na paibe Mapatita Prabhu. Go ahead. Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi. Prabhu. You can respond. Kripa bolo kono karo yami baradu daya karo Sitapati Advaita Gosai Daya Karo Sitapati Advaita Gosai Abha Kripa Bale Aha Saru Sanatana Ruparagonatha Aha Saru Sanatana Ruparagonatha Atta Yoga Sri Jivaha Prabhu Lokanatha Atta Yoga Sri Dayakaram Sri Acharya Prabhu Srinivas Dayakaram Sri Acharya Srinivas Ramachandra Sangamage Narottamada Ramachandra Sangamage Ramachandra Sangamage Narottamada Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama
Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Gaur Brahmanande, Hari Hari Bol. I really appreciate when you all join. Thank you for singing. Response. So please fold your hand and recite together to invoke the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Daita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Daita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Daita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we are reciting today Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antalila, Chapter 2, title translated by Srila Prabhupada, The Chastisement of Junior Haridas. And the text I was given 101. Am I right, Mother? 101 onwards.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Let me go there. एक दिन आचार्य प्रभुरे कैला निमंत्रण घरे भात करी करे विविध व्यंजन. I'm going to recite up till 17 and then I'll read the translation because there is a rhyme on all those slokas. And if you understand the Bengali, then it's like very effective. I think 117 has a purport. Prabhupada gave a big purport, so we'll stop there. Ekodin acharya prabhure koila nimantrana ঘরে ভাত করি করে বিবিধ ব্যঞ্জন ছোট হরিদাস নাম প্রভুর কীর্তনিয়া তাহারে কহেন ডাকি আপনে আনিয়া মোর নামে শিখি মাহি তীর ভগিনী স্থানে গিয়া শুক্ল চাউল এক মান আনহ মাগিয়া মাহিতির ভাগিনীর নাম মাধবী দেবী বৃদ্ধা তপস্বিনী আর পরমা বৈষ্ণবী প্রভু লেখা করে যারে রাধিকার গণ জগতের মধ্যে পাত্র 3.5 জন স্বরূপ গোসাই আর রায় রামানন্দ সিকি মাহিতি 3 আর তার ভাগিনী অর্ধজন তার ঠাই তন্ডুল মাগি আনিল হরিদাস তন্ডুল দেখি আচার্যের অধিক উল্লাস স্নেহে রান্দিল প্রভুর প্রিয় সেই ব্যঞ্জন দেউল প্রসাদ আদা চাকি লেম্বু সলবন মধ্যাহ্নে আসিয়া প্রভু ভোজনে বসিলা সাল্লান্ন দেখি প্রভু আচার্য পুছিলা উত্তম অন্ন এত তন্ডুল কাহাতে পাইলা আচার্য কহে মাধবী পাশ মাগিয়া আনিলা প্রভু কহে কোন যায় মাগিয়া আনিল ছোট হরিদাসের নাম আচার্য কহিল অন্ন প্রশংসিয়া প্রভু ভোজন করিলাম নিজ গৃহে আসি গোবিন্দের আজ্ঞা দিলাম আজি হইতে এই মোর আজ্ঞা পালিবা ছোট হরিদাসে ইহা আসিতে না দিবা দারমানা হরিদাস দুঃখী হইল মনে কি লাগিয়া দারমানা কেহ নাহি জানে 3 দিন হরিদাস করে উপবাস স্বরূপাদি সবে পুছিল প্রভুর পাশ কোন অপরাধে প্রভু কইল হরিদাস কি লাগিয়া দারমানা করে উপবাস প্রভু কহে বৈরাগী করে প্রকৃতি সম্ভাষণ দেখিতে না পারো আমি তাহার বদন Prabhupada ki jai. So I'm going to read the English translation of Srila Prabhupada that he gave in this Chaitanya Charitamrita beautiful. One day, Bhagavan Acharya invited Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhagavan Acharya is the eternal associate, if you can, I'm sure you are aware of it, but just to refresh. This incident taking place in Sri Jagannath Puri. One day, Bhagavan Acharya invited Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to dine at his home. Thus, he was preparing rice and various types of vegetable. A devotee named Choto Haridas used to sing for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhagavan Acharya called him to his home and spoke as follows. Please go to the sister of Siki Mahiti. In my name, ask her for a manna of white rice and bring it here. Srila Prabhupada give a little purport, very nice. In India, Sukla Chaul, white rice, is called Atop Chaul, or rice that has been boiled before being threshed. Another kind of rice called Siddha Chaul, brown rice, is boiled before being threshed. Generally, first-class fine white rice is required for offering to the deity. Thus, Bhagavan Acharya asked Choto Haridas or Junior Haridas, a singer in the assembly of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to get some of this rice from the sister of Siki Mahiti. Mana is a standard of measurement in Orissa for rice and other food grains. I think the mana is 2 pounds somewhere. Oh, here. Eko mana, the measurement of 1 mana, almost 2 pounds, Prabhupada writes. Word to word meaning. They still use it in the Orissa. Let's see. Now in this purport, I just don't want to use our, we're dealing with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the offerable things. When I read this morning, this one, and I remember in Ayurveda, one devotee, Narayan Prabhu, he researched Prabhupada's disciple in Alachua. He said, when you take Siddha Chal, then you digest in 2 hours. If you take Atop Chal, it takes 6 hours. Now that's true in a Ayurvedic system, but when you're thinking of offerable, it is not the Atop Chal or modern system that we have. In actually, old culture, till today in the some village, you will see they have a fragrance which you will never get from this Siddha Chal. So those sensual prospect cannot be seen in this example. Why Bhagavan Acharya wanted to offer? Because like a rice named Govinda Bhog, there's a whole story about it, that how he actually, the Lord actually loved that. Even Nityananda Prabhu was so much in love with Govinda Bhog that when he went to see Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri, he was afraid that Mahaprabhu will be upset in a sense that Mahaprabhu just sent him to Bengal to preach. But Nityananda Prabhu so much in love with Mahaprabhu that he cannot even stay a few days. He came back, but he didn't want to go see Mahaprabhu directly, so he stayed with Gadadhar Prabhu, and he brought 40 kilo Atop Chal. So I remember that story. And Mahaprabhu says, when Gadadhar Prabhu cooked, Mahaprabhu says, oh, the smell of the rice, it's like coming from Vaikuntha. So you have to understand, those rice is not just rice of Indian supermarket or something. Yeah. It's special. Because Vaikuntha Prithivyadi Shakali Chinmay, rice is also a conscious being, conscious energy. Rice in this world is made of matter to nourish the body, maintain the body. It's different than the rice in the spiritual world. Then here, Siki Mahiti's sister was named Madhavi Devi. She was an elderly lady who always performed austerity. She was very advanced in devotional service. Then Prabhupada writes, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted her as having formerly been an associate of Srimati Radharani. In the entire world, 3.5 people were his intimate devotees. There is no purport, but I was told that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur in Anubhashya, he explained this in Chaitanya Bhagavat, some purport is there. 3.5, because in ISKCON, when I joined many years back, I remember there was some kind of a inference concoction, I would say, explanation of this why 3.5. Here it says, let's see, it says, Sade Tina Jan, Sare Tina Jan, Sare Tina Jan, in Bengali, Sare means half. So 3.5, Prabhupada writes. 3.5 not because she is a lady, because 3 was Swarup Damodar, Ramananda Rai, and Sikhi Mahiti, and Sikhi Mahiti's sister Madhavi Devi. So I guess somebody was misunderstanding. So he was a sannyasi and he promoted that, oh, 3.5 because 3 men and ladies are half. So like they have a less value or something. But this is a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding in a sense, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur says, because 3 of the lady took the male form to be with Mahaprabhu when even Radharani took the form of a male, Gadadhar Prabhu. So everybody took the male form, but one of the Gopi girl didn't want to take the male form. So she came as a Madhavi Devi because she did not change. That's why it's half, not because she's a lady. Just to clear this mistake. Then it says the 3 were Swarup Damodar, Goswami, Ramananda Rai, Sikhi Mahiti, and the half a person was Sikhi Mahiti's sister. That's true, Madhavi Devi, not because she is a lady, because she did not change her female to male form. But still, she was one of the intimate associates. After begging the rice from her, Junior Haridas brought it to Bhagavan Acharya, who was very pleased to see its quality. Then Prabhupada writes, in great affection, Bhagavan Acharya cooked varieties of vegetable and other preparation dear to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He also obtained remnants of food from Lord Jagannath and digestive aids such as ground ginger and lime with salt. Very interesting. Mahaprabhu liked it. At noon, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to eat the offerings of Bhagavan Acharya, he first appreciated the fine rice and therefore questioned him. Now, it's a examining when you see something suspicious. Now, we have a good lesson to learn from these pastimes. And this is the one pastime I heard probably more than 100 times in different temples. Where did you get such fine rice? The Lord asked. Bhagavan Acharya replied, I got it by begging from Madhavi Devi. Is that sentence complete or not? Yes. But still Mahaprabhu is investigating. See how it next comes. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, who had begged? Now previous sloka it says, I got it by begging from Madhavi Devi. Bhagavan Acharya already answered. But Mahaprabhu, because he is also in the heart of the devotee. This is the one thing, we can never cheat Krishna. We should boldly write in front of our eye. We can never cheat Krishna. He knows in and out. Even I'm speaking to you, what I'm thinking, what my intention of this class, he knows. It is not possible ever anybody can cheat. So then Mahaprabhu asked, who had bagged the rice and brought it back? Bhagavan Acharya mentioned the name of Junior Haridas. Praising the quality of the rice, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu partook of the prasadam. Then after returning to his residence, he gave the following order to Govinda, his personal assistant. From this day forward, do not allow Choto Haridas to come here. When Junior Haridas heard that he had been ordered not to approach Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was very unhappy. No one could understand why he had been ordered not to come. Haridas fasted continuously for 3 days. Then Sarup Damodar Gosai and other confidential devotees approached Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to inquire from him. It sounds familiar, no? In devotee association, when a person is told not to come to temple or not to kind of isolated or kind of don't want any respect to that person or that person is insulted. It happened sometime in this big organization. How do we behave and how it happened? This is the question rise. And you will hear these pastimes even after we finish Chaitanya Charitamrita many times in your life. That what happened to Junior Haridas? They will always think. But clear-cut answer is given in this chapter very nicely. So that's what we are looking to resolve, how to see proper angle. Prabhupada translate, what great offense has Junior Haridas committed? Why has he been forbidden to come to your door? He has now been fasting for 3 days. The Lord replied, I cannot tolerate seeing the face of a person who has accepted the renounced order of life, but who still talks intimately with a woman. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that the saralata or simplicity is the first qualification of a Vaishnava, whereas duplicity or cunning behavior is a great offense against the principle of devotional service. As one advances in Krishna consciousness, one must gradually become disgusted with material attachment, thus become more and more attached to the service of the Lord. If one is not factually detached from material activities, but still proclaim himself advanced in devotional service, he is cheating. No one will be happy to see such behavior. So this verse, I'm going to read it one more time in case if you missed it. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur commented that saralata, simplicity is the first qualification of a Vaishnava, whereas duplicity or cunning behavior is the great offense against the principle of devotional service. As one advances in Krishna consciousness, one must gradually become disgusted with the material attachment and thus become more and more attached to the service of the Lord. If one is not factually detached from the material activities, but still proclaim himself advanced in devotional service, he is cheating. And no one will be happy to such behavior. Akshurunmilitam jena tasmai Sri Guruve Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam jena bhutale sayam rupa kadamayam dadati shapadam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jutapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Samini Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunnavadi Paschata Desatari Vancha Kalpa Taruvescha Kripa Sindhu Bhaye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna. So I'm going to resurface the story, what we just heard. I have one question to the audience. Would you like to serve the Lord in a highest degree of selfless sacrifice, knowing that you will be or your name will be recorded in the history of Vaishnavism as a fallen sannyasi or evil guy, like Mother Koiki? She is also another example in Ramayana. She is an internal potency, but her love for Ram, just she took that position that I mention every time I speak about Ramayana, that no girl are ever given name Kaiki in India, at least. I don't know the rest of the world, but I never heard any Mataji or girl's name Kaiki. And one reason only, the first reason they give, because she's an evil spirit. But Vaishnava angle, that we see the commentary that how actually she served Ram in such a highest degree that she voluntarily chose to be in that wicked witch position. That kind of self-dedication, self-sacrifice, very rare. Srila Prabhupada mentioned also end of this chapter when we come, you will see that Junior Haridas is a eternal associate. He is not a new person coming. Kala Krishnadas is a new person. Through Kala Krishnadas also was rejected by Mahaprabhu. Junior Haridas also rejected by Mahaprabhu. But one good lesson we learned, Prabhupada gave in the commentary, that Junior Haridas was rejected by Mahaprabhu and he committed suicide. Okay, we hear. How to see this story in a proper angle? That because he took direct shelter of God, this is one point we can learn. He has a direct shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's very high risk. When you serve Krishna or Radharani directly, it's very high risk. Extremely high risk. We don't suggest. Raghunath Das Goswami wanted to take shelter of Mahaprabhu directly. When we are new bhakta, we like to have a direct connection with Krishna directly, immediately. We don't want in the middle, guru or anybody. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur went to South India and he saw a great Ram Bhakta. And so he went there and he asked, Prabhuji, under whose direction are you serving? And that Ram Bhakta says, why do I need another media? I can serve Ram directly. So Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur left and he told his disciples in the class, he said he is not serving Ram. That's some hallucination idea he has. Just like a Sahajiya, they have some hallucination idea. It's a kind of a cloudy, hazy. And they will be disturbed. Siddhir bhavati baneti sangsaya achyuta sevinam. Nishangshayastu tad bhakta paricharya ratatmanam. Shastra recommends always be under guidance, subordination. Just like Prabhupada said, if you want to understand, stand under. I mentioned this 1,000 times because it's a wonderful English Prabhupada taught. I never heard that before. He said, if you want to understand, stand under. You have to have a a guru, a senior Vaishnava to be your guide. Then you can approach Krishna very safely. I'll give you another example also. Many examples, then I'll come back. One time when Lord Ramchandra went to, for Banavas, he went with Sita Devi and Lakshman. The first, in the beginning, he stayed in this place, a beautiful Savaraj. He gave a nice place for him to stay. He's kind of a leader of a local fishery people around. They hunt. So he has a strong love for Ram, and I think I mentioned that story before, that how Lakshman never slept in his entire 14 years, 13 years in the forest, and the last 1 year when Sita was kidnapped, even that year. So total 14 years. In that anyway, the Lakshman, he doesn't sleep, but he always guards Sitaram. So Sitaram was resting, and to make the story quick, short, that Lakshman with his bow and arrow, he was going around the house to guard, make sure that their sleep is not disturbed. But when this newly friend of Lord Ram, Savaraj, saw that Lakshman, what he's doing, he did not understand. So he thought, why he has a bow and arrow and he's going around? Is he trying to kill Ram so he can take over the kingdom or something? He could not reconcile. Even though he's serving Ram, he gave the place. Sitaram is resting. So he took his bow and arrow and going in the forest, as Lakshman is circumambulating the small kutir, or little hut they had, and he is also circumambulating little far distance. If Lakshman ever pull the arrow to kill Ram, which is not ever recorded anywhere or ever mentioned, but in his own mind he created this imagination. Then he is thinking, I love Ram. Ram has a direct connection with me. And if Lakshman comes in between, I'm going to kill him. So whole night, Ram and Sita Devi is resting and Lakshman going around. And this new friend of Ram, who also feels he has a connection with Ram, but he does not have under guidance in between Ram and him. So he took on his own decision and is guarding Lakshman. Now, his follower, they also woke up middle of the night. They say, what happened to our leader? Why is going around Lakshman? He's trying to kill him. If he kills, then we're going to kill him. So they set up another group going far, like a half mile, 1 mile. They're looking in dark night. If he ever shoot arrow, we're going to kill him. They don't have anybody in between their master and them. So this way, confusion took place and whole night passed by. And then the discussion took place. Why, except Lakshman, everybody suffered whole night. They are just worried if something will happen. Lakshman was asked, were you nervous last night? Say, no, I'm just guarding for my Lord to have a good sleep. If anybody try to just disturb his sleep, they're going to face me first. Oh, then the other two groups also inquired that, what about you? You are whole night you are guarding, and what happened? He said, we are very disturbed. I am very disturbed. I thought maybe Lakshman was trying to attack Ram, but on his own. And then his follower, they are guarding him. They are going to kill him if he attack Lakshman or Ram. On that idea, that they are trying to protect the Lord. So the bottom point is that when we serve, if we do not have under guidance, we will not be happy in our life. That's why Prabhupada, even Lord Krishna says, Acharya mam vijaniyam na abhamanyat karhichit. Abhamanyat. How can you disrespect to your guru? Abhamanana means, my Gurudev does not know all these verses. I learned so many verses. Actually, I'm not bad. Maybe I know more than my Guru. This kind of thought is a disrespect to Guru. This is practically we apply. So in this pastime, we also see that how Kala Krishnadas was also traveling with Mahaprabhu. But when he came back, Mahaprabhu says, I don't want to see this Brahmana's face anymore. Because Bhattatari took him and he was pulled by Maya. Can you imagine? You are with Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Maya came to attack you. How close you think you will be in a proximity with Maya? So this is very, very, very thoughtful lesson, this pastime. But whereas Kala Krishnadas, when Kala Krishnadas Mahaprabhu rejected him, just like he rejected Junior Haridas, Nityananda Prabhu was the shelter between Mahaprabhu and Kala Krishnadas. And Prabhupada made a significant point. Because Guru was taking care, because he has a shelter of a Vaishnava beside Mahaprabhu. Even if you have a shelter of God, Krishna, it's like a sunlight. And Guru shelter is like a water. And disciple is like a lotus. And by the mercy of sun and the water, the soul or disciple blossoms. Slowly, slowly, his heart become a place for the Lord to reside and very joyfully give happiness to the Lord. But look at this in this metaphor. If sun is there, but Guru, water is not there, what will happen to the lotus? Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur asked that question. Krishna mercy may be there. Krishna's mercy can be there in our life. But if we do not have a shelter of a Vaishnava, we will be, that lotus will not blossom. It will be dead. The same sun, which makes the lotus to grow, to blossom, same sun. If the water or Guru shelter is not there in a devotee's life, a Vaishnava shelter, a senior devotee's shelter, he will be doomed or she will be doomed, whoever it is. This is very crucial. That's why Prabhupada even mentioned few times lecture. A disciple should never think that, oh, I'm better than my Guru now. Yes, by Guru's mercy, we are advancing, but we always have to keep Guru's lotus feet at our forefront. It is necessary. This is a guideline. And those who don't take shelter of Guru for eternity, even in spiritual world, Lalita Visakha, they are Guru for those manjaris. Sakhigana Mama Parama Sundari Sakhigana Mama Parama Sundari Jugala Premera Guru. Bhaktivinoda Thakur write this song that Sakhigana Mama Parama Sundari Jugala Premera Guru. They are Guru. They teach us. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur, they express how to understand this. This idea of Guru is eternal. It's not only here. Even in spiritual world, there is a subordination. Under Subal, there's a millions of coward boys. Under Sridham, there's a millions of coward boys. Under Madhumangal, thousands and thousands of coward boys. That's how they serve. Whatever rasa we want to serve Krishna, we always under, and the beauty of under, that actually you will relish more happiness in spiritual domain if you just choose on your own. even if you enter, I'm giving a little confidential, generally we don't talk in public class like this. In Ujjwal Nilmani, there is a pastime that how a newcomer from America, it didn't say America, I'm just adding it so you can relate. Someone from America became very serious devotee, and as Prabhupada says, they are promoted to enter into another planet where Krishna is performing Leela right now. Krishna's Leela is going on as long as the creation is existing. So that we can enter there and we have direct contact. That's called Bostu Siddhi. We'll get Swarup Siddhi in this life. I hope everybody gets it. I hope I get it by you all mercy and Prabhupada mercy, Guru's mercy. And then we all can get Swarup Siddhi, and then we enter there, we get Bostu Siddhi. In Bostu Siddhi, Krishna will accept your service directly. How? You will take a bath and you will see Lalita Sakhi, you're like a few years older than you, and is like an elderly sister, and she will guide you. Hey, you want to play? Let's go. We are going to play with this, and you become like a. You don't even remember that you are from America, but Yogamaya takes you over, and then you immediately are taken there. That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur expressed even. Lalita Sakhira Ajogga Kinkari Vinoda Dhari Ache Paya Siddha Deha Diya Vrindavana Maje Seva Amrita Karadana Iyaya Prema Matta Kari More Sunahani Jagunagana. All these songs are very attractive to the heart of those who are advancing, because it's such a highest, unbelievable ecstasy you will be experiencing in that realm, in that level of advancement. So there, subordination is eternal. So back to this story, the junior Haridas was condemned and banished. Of course, this is his highest service to Mahaprabhu as a. But we learn from this many things. First of all, if somebody is in renounced order, if he, many things we can think. Even this morning in Mangalarti, I was thinking about this verse, what is the biggest danger for a sannyasi if he is not acting as a sannyasi, in a sannyasi dress? Well, to become a real sannyasi, sannyasi means, Prabhupada gave it the definition, renunciation is the result of genuine spiritual emotion. So if I am faking, not real developing of spiritual emotion, falling for the mental emotion, then there is a danger. And the danger is that impetus to become a genuine renunciate is lost. This is the worst thing a person in renounce order can do. This is the worst thing any devotee can do to himself or herself. Because if we are not sincere and simple-hearted, our impetus to become a sincere and simple-hearted is lost. It's so dangerous. And I remember when the Catholic Society had a lawsuit against the many priests, and there was some short interview, like 2-3 minutes. And I mentioned that also, that if people goes to that place where they feel like a serene, you know, the priest is such a holy man. He has the inner connection with God. Just being his presence is the most attractive phenomenon. But if the child is being abused by that apparently supposed to be serene and is completely degraded, and child is like never want to see church, never want to come to God, that is lost. It is the worst murderer a person can do in that renounce or advanced level. So Mahaprabhu is making this point very straightforward for us to understand. Of course, it is not relevant to for us to judge others if somebody act like this, because we have to be very careful. Why Mahaprabhu is so strict? And in this chapter, I remember I read one sloka, I think 1.4, something like this. It says, Prabhu kohe moro basa, nahi moro mana. Prakriti sambhasi vairagi na kare darsana. It is not the form of a woman. It is not the Mataji. It is that my intention, my attitude is Mahaprabhu is against it. That I want to enjoy that object, that form is for me to enjoy. You're not even respecting that person. Even in relationship, recently, of course, I learned this after I came to the renounced path more thoroughly, try to understand. Because spiritual relationship is reflecting in this material world. So this relationship in this world has some origin, such a harmonious nourishment. But then if you look at from that angle, a lot of time the problem in the relationship comes because of the respecting, mutual respect to each other. Because most of the time, I think I'm the body, so the other person is the object of my senses. But that view is so dangerous because it will disappoint. Constitutionally, I am a eternal servant. I'm a conscious being. I supposed to revive our inner joyful connection and satisfaction. But in conditional, bodily liking, bodily, oh, I love you, something like this, bodily liking, it has a limitation and tribulation. Guaranteed, for sure. It is not in philosophy. I practically, literally, even yesterday, CBS, I went and I was talking to this cashier for a few minutes. And she said, you are like a monk. I said, yes, I'm a monk. You know, Hare Krishnas, they are here for ages, almost 30 years now. They say, yeah, I see, but I never spoke to anybody. I said, well, you're speaking to someone like me. So anyway, we talked a few minutes. Then I went to the car and brought a book, and then I was talking to her. I said, you know, if you really want to be happy, get out of this limitation and tribulation. I said, what do you mean? He said, you identify by the body always. Try to identify as a soul, servant of God. You will feel much more happy. It requires some understanding. You can read books. And I gave a temple address. I said, you can come there and visit. So like this, Sunday we had a beautiful festival. And then this conditional has a two, tribulation and limitation. And then constitutional has a joyful connection and satisfaction. But how to connect this conditional to constitutional? It's require a bridge. This is called sadhan bhakti. Sadhan bhakti is nothing but connection from the conditional state to the constitutional. And what are the two things? Those who are not following the scriptures, they are doing concoction and speculation. Now, can I give up speculation? No, it is not possible to give up speculation. So Prabhupada is merciful. He said, use philosophical speculation, that will bring you to bhakti. You do mental speculation, it will take you to hell or misery. Hell means in hell, narak. I broke down one time to trace it, like where is this word, why this? There's a two reasons why hell was created according to 3rd Canto Bhagavatam. And simple definition is that which keeps you far away from the merciful God and causes you pain. So you suffer, but that's not the main suffering. Main suffering is that you don't have any connection to get out of suffering. So that which keeps you away from connection of God, that is hell, hellish life, you can say. So in this Haridas Thakur's, Junior Haridas Thakur's, because he was directly connected with the Lord, he was deprived from his shelter. But of course, ultimately it is a pastime, is eternal associate he got. But where Kala Krishna Das had a shelter of a Vaishnava, Nityananda Prabhu, even though he was serving Mahaprabhu directly, Mahaprabhu rejected. Even Prabhupada, as I mentioned, Prabhupada gave a nice that when Mahaprabhu rejected, but Nityananda Prabhu counseled, he mentored Kala Krishna Das. He said, don't worry, you have full shelter of Mahaprabhu, but stay on my instruction. Go to Mayapur and serve Mother Sochi. Mahaprabhu comes there to eat every day. You will see him. You will be able to serve him directly there, but always stay under Mother Sochi. So like this, we will never be deprived from the spiritual life if we hold on to the shelter of a Vaishnava or Guru. It is very important. Why Mahaprabhu is so strict? See, Srila Prabhupada translate on that verse that ultimately Mahaprabhu is so strict because Mahaprabhu expressed that his mind was not under his control. It does not like to see anyone in the renounced order who talks intimately with sense objects. All our activities, this is a Mother Paramananda Puri's, like when you fail to get the mercy of your Guru or Vaishnava, then if you see that you cannot have a direct connection, some other you're not getting in, then you go to another Vaishnava to convince your Guru, or like this, you go this route, that route, some or other. And this exactly happened. It did not work directly by Nityananda Prabhu and other. Then he went through Paramananda Puri, who is respected by Mahaprabhu even. Even there, Mahaprabhu told Paramananda Puri that you can take care of them and I'm leaving. So they understood this is a serious matter. Mahaprabhu will never accept or give him the mercy. Just not see him. Mahaprabhu wanted to establish this point. What he wanted to establish? That all renounced leader or spiritual leader, they can harm the society more than ordinary devotee. So leader has to be first class example. If leaders are first class example, this movement will grow like anything always. Even despite so many problems, so many faults of different devotees, if the leaders are ideal example, if they have a one-pointed devotional dedication under Prabhupada's guidance, this movement will go. And I believe so. Everybody is very sincere, serious, even if there is some problem happens. So Mahaprabhu is strict because Paramananda Puri asked, and Paramananda Puri told Mahaprabhu, all your activities are for the benefit of people. Whether he's punishing or not punishing, it is actually ultimately for the benefit of all the people. We cannot understand them. Means it may not make sense to our level of understanding. But Paramananda Puri said, but for your intention are deep and great. But Mahaprabhu is always merciful. So everything he does, it's only good. I remember one story, one of Prabhupada's godbrother, Sridhar Maharaj, said that one time Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was very angry with one of his disciples. He did a horrible things. I don't have to narrate the story. So then he told him that you don't fit to live in an ashram. Ashram residents should be ideal character. If you have that kind of attraction, you should go home and get married and just do not bother pretending renounced. So he left and he was crying, but he knew that he did this horrible act with the local village and it was not proper. But then he told Sridhar Maharaj, you should go and try to bring him back if he is willing to, because if somebody regrets, he can get out of those impression trouble. But as a guru, I have to chastise. But as a God brother, you have to go and convince him to try to stay and serve. So those things are there, both. Here also you will see later on that how Mahaprabhu did this, but you know, there was a gossip. There was a gossip within Mahaprabhu's entourage. The gossip is, oh my God, he became a Rakshasa, Brahma Rakshasa. I remember Javataka Maharaj one time told me, of course, I mean, I don't know, maybe not everybody, but I used to get scared of ghosts. Of course, I don't know what ghost is really at those days, but still I used to be afraid. He said, you know who is the leader of the ghost? I said, no. Why? How do you know? I always used to like kind of not argue, but ask him. And he was very compassionate and tolerant. He said, when a devotee commits suicide, because one devotee committed suicide in Mayapur, one doctor near the kitchen. He said, this is the worst thing a devotee, an initiated disciple can do, that he abandon Guru's property. When you take initiation, this body is not your. Owner is Guru. You have a, when you say, okay, I follow this Prabhu or this Maharaj or this Prabhu, and he's my Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru. That time you have to use your body, mind for their satisfaction. It's not your property. Mahaprabhu told this to Sanatana Goswami Pad. Said, how can you just think of commit suicide under the chariot of Jagannath? This body is not yours. You gave it to me. It's my body. It's my property. So what should we do? We should maintain. We should maintain in such a way that body function very well. Give enough rest, give enough healthy food, prasadam like this. We maintain the property. Just like one devotee was middle of the night, was very sick, and he was almost about to die, something, in Ultaranga temple. So they woke up, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, middle of the night, said, Prabhupada, this doctor who joined yesterday, took initiation, he's about to die, we don't know what to do. Say, who is he? He said, he's your disciple. What is your duty towards my disciple? Oh, to take care and give shelter, protection, and then do the needful. This is the lesson. So when we see our God brother, God sister, all the devotees in ISKCON, they all came to please Prabhupada. What is our duty? Whether it's emotionally, mentally, whatever people going through, it is our responsibility to show our love to Prabhupada by supporting or making them feel comfortable to stay in the movement with a healthy mood. Worst come worst, we can pray for them. If it is something beyond my control, I have no power, then we can pray for them. But we should always have that mentality, how we can keep those who have come. So I'll end with this because of the time. If anybody has any question, reflection, because there's so much to say about this, even though it's a small story, but it's big things in our life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. I mean, it was a very, very interesting and very, I would say, a class from which I have to learn a lot. Thank you so much. A lot of values, Prabhu, and a lot of training of the consciousness, which I lack. Definitely, I take to heart the words that you spoke today. A lot of things to learn from this class. Prabhu, I do have a few questions. Of course, these are very simple questions, meaning like silly questions. So first thing is, when you were talking about the two kinds of rice, you said one part is first parboiled and then it is dehusked. And the other one is first husked and then it is parboiled.
One second, Mata, I could not hear. Can you repeat that?
Yeah,
Two kinds what?
Yeah. When you were talking about the two kinds of rice, you said one variety is first parboiled and then husked. The other one is first husked and then parboiled, right? Yeah. So which was the rice that Mahaprabhu got? I mean, the one that Junior Haridas went to fetch for Mahaprabhu?
The atuk chal.
That is?
Not boiled first.
Okay, first husked and then boiled.
Correct.
Okay, that is like raw rice and parboiled rice. So he took the raw rice and that is the one that digests faster, right? Than the parboiled rice.
The rice, according to Ayurveda, I don't know, I haven't read the Ayurveda, I just trusting the devotees of opinion.
Yes, yes, yes.
He says that the first boiled rice digests quick.
Oh, that digest.
We don't offer in Mayapur. They don't offer that kind of.
Yeah. So the raw rice, that is the one that is boiled later, that is the one we offer to the deities, and that takes longer time to digestion, is what you were saying, right?
According to Ayurveda, yes.
Okay, okay, very nice, Prabhu. And then my next question was regarding this Junior Haridas. So you were mentioning that he didn't have a direct connection, but then why was he serving Bhagavan Acharya? He was serving under the guidance of Bhagavan Acharya, right? At least initially when he went to get the rice. So that was a question.
He was staying with Mahaprabhu. Bhagavan Acharya is also one of the coward boy. I mean, in this lila, he came also there, but they all came from with Sivananda Sen, and they are inviting different family, inviting Mahaprabhu in different day. So Bhagavan Acharya is one of the group. So not knowing the local place, knowing that Junior Haridas knows the local. So he asked him if he can go and get some rice for.
Oh, like that. Okay, okay, makes sense.
You ask your neighbor sometime, your devotee, Haribol, can you just go and grab some apple from the shop, like something like this?
Right.
Something like that, similar.
Yeah. And the third question was, Prabhu, why, if he was an eternal associate, as you were mentioning, you were making a distinction between Krishnadas and Junior Haridas, but you said that the Junior Haridas was an eternal associate. So then why would an eternal associate make the blunder of suicide? Because suicide is considered the worst, right? So then can you...
Actually, this was Mahaprabhu wanted to display a few things. First of all, as Prabhupada says, you have an Indian body, so you'll probably know, I'm assuming from your sound, from your accent. In Indian culture, at least in Bengal, I saw also, that when you want to teach something to new wedded bride, enter in your house, married to your son, you don't tell her everything to do, because then you feel like, oh my God, she may feel like, oh my God, what kind of mother-in-law is there ordering me all day? So sometimes you tell your daughter, who knows everything, but you say, okay, after you wash this, can you do this? And you can do after this. So you tell your daughter, but actually you are telling your daughter-in-law indirectly, because your daughter-in-law is hearing and she is learning.
Right.
So sometimes you teach daughter-in-law through daughter. This is the Vedic culture like this. Because if you tell daughter-in-law directly, she will feel like, oh my God, I have a bossy mother-in-law. Kind of, But you want to teach. So Mahaprabhu teaching the world through his own internal associate.
Yes, Prabhu.
Because ordinary living entity cannot do. Can you imagine if somebody reject like this? He is so attached. He got his subtle body, Gandharva body, and he is still singing. He cannot give up. Even Mahaprabhu rejected. Mahaprabhu went to Jagannath temple after rejecting 3 days fasting, didn't care. 1 year, did not want to see. But still, every day he went, wherever Mahaprabhu went, from far distance, he's looking and crying and crying. What kind of attachment is there? This is what Mahaprabhu trying to teach. That even if somebody is condemned, still once you are connected, you are connected. And after 1 year, when Mahaprabhu asked this devotee, where is Junior Haridas? Bring him. They said, well, we heard the news that he went to Triveni and committed suicide. Prabhupada, when he was asked actually a few times this question, because Vishnujan Swami, I cannot tell more than what I heard, because rumors are spreading, but Prabhupada's time only this much news came. The Prabhupada heard it, and Prabhupada says, oh, what happened? He also did the same thing. Vishnujan Swami is such a nice, loving American body sannyasi, but Prabhupada wrote a letter one. I was reading, anytime I read that letter. Prabhupada said, you have such a beautiful voice when you sing, And Vishnujan Swami was a one sannyasi in ISKCON. He would stand, sing for 8 hours on the road every day. He made so many devotee people. Devotee would love him. But some or other, we have, you can call, how would you say, if you don't give the devil his due, he will take more than his due. You understand the concept I'm trying to say? Like we want to be a devotee, but I also want to enjoy life. This is like a side by side. But I don't want anybody to know that I have enjoyment spirit. I want to make money. I want to enjoy girl. I want to enjoy, movie and all these things. But I want to be a pure devotee also. This is conflict. So this is there. Even Mahaprabhu is exhibiting this. That it was not that it was there with eternal associate, but he's exhibiting through him. That when he went to Madhavi Devi, it is not that Madhavi Devi is eternal associate. Mahaprabhu was one of the associates. She had a niece. In Bhakti Ratnakar somewhere it says she had a niece. She was a beautiful girl. And Junior Haridas, the way he talked and looked at her, he wants to enjoy her body, something like that. It's a natural, you may not know, the man thinks naturally in this world. I personally investigated and interviewed. Even one sannyasi I asked, how do you restrain? How do you went for like this? A practical. Whatever the philosophy teaches, practically I try to examine, for me to learn. When you don't apply, how do you learn? Not everything I can learn with my own senses. Like potassium cyanide, I never want to learn that it's poisonous because anybody tasted all dead. So through other senses also we need to learn. We don't have to just learn from our.
Right.
So something like that. Mahaprabhu is creating this atmosphere that, and then at that time there was a rumors amongst the devotee. They're also eternal associate. Oh my God, he committed suicide. He is going to suffer now. The ghost world is terrible. That's true what they're saying. But then Swarup Damodar, end of this chapter, I would suggest you to read. I can give you the exact verse number. I have the old Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yes, 156, the rumors that he became a Brahma Rakshas. That's it. Brahma Rakshas, Jagataka Maharaj says, is the leader of the Rakshas, the ghost. They really suffer, I would say, 1,000,000 times more than ordinary ghost. Their body is like this. So those devotee, Brahmana, those who commit suicide, they become Brahma Rakshas. But Swarup Damodar says, Ajanma Krishna Kirtan Prabhura Sevan, Prabhu Kripa Patra Ar Sketra Maran, Durgoti na hoy tar Sadgati se hoy, Prabhu Bangi ei pache janiba nishchay. And Swarup Damodar removing their doubt. Do not ever think like this. He was serving Mahaprabhu. He was a devotee. And he committed suicide. But where? In the holy place. But he is always in separation of Mahaprabhu. Therefore, he has only highest destiny. And he already achieved Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. Never ever he will glide down. So this is the conclusion already given. But you will not hear the conclusion so much. You will hear that, oh my God, this is terrible. So when Prabhupada heard it, Prabhupada changed his view on that. What Prabhupada was thinking, we don't know. But what he said, we can repeat. He said, if somebody feels like that they are advancing, but all of a sudden, due to some offense or due to some previous karma, some impression is so deeply rooted to enjoy, sex or something that they could not uproot completely, then Maya will try to trap them just to bring them back. Yeah. This is Maya's challenge. But because they have served, they have pleased their Guru and Krishna, it's never lost. We should always think like this.
Very nice, Prabhu. So just one more confirmation as you were talking. So Bhakti Ratnakar explains that it was Malini's niece that actually Junior Haridas had attraction to, right? Is that how we understand?
Something like this. How they didn't give it details, like. where they didn't have a cell phone, so obviously.
Very, very nice, Prabhu. Very beautiful class. Actually, I had a few more questions, but I'm not remembering. So if I get to remember, I'll ask again. I'll let the rest of them ask. Thank you, Prabhuji, for your time and attention.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have a question. So my name is Anshu. So you were talking about the rice. So like is there like a difference between the rice that we eat and the rice that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ate, or is it the same rice that he ate and we are eating now?
Well, first of all, I don't live in your house, so I don't know what kind of rice you eat. I'm really
Like
sorry.
it's white rice, like plain white rice.
Okay. Well, as long you offer it, then it's all right. Because in 7th chapter Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, he is the digestive power. To digest, you need power. Are you digesting your food?
Yeah,
Who is digesting?
me.
No, you're not digesting. Really? You do? What do? You go inside your stomach?
No, I just eat it.
So you're an advantage taker. Be thankful to Krishna that Krishna is actually helping. He says that this Agni means fire, Jataragni in the Jatar or intestine to digest is him. He said, I am that fire in the digestive system. So Krishna is digesting your food. So he will digest as long it is prasadam. And if it is not offered, I don't know, you have to talk to him. You probably heard if you eat unoffered food, what will happen? But if you offered prasadam, don't worry.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat.
Prabhuji, I have a question, but I'm not sure how to say it without being offensive, so I'll try my best, Prabhuji. So the thing, so like the sannyasi thing that you said, so like even now in ISKCON and previously we have heard or read that so many things about sannyasis. And sorry, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Go ahead, Mata.
Yeah. So we hear so many things or read so many things about sannyasis who are still there in our
trying to promote yourself. But this is the practically I see when I see somebody is lower than me in my mind, immediately I counter. Why am I thinking like this? Krishna has a direct relationship with this person, and I'm trying to develop love for the same Krishna who is also in that person's heart. So, and the easiest way, by the association of those who has actually uplifted themselves from those effect. I mean, it's a hard struggle. I agree with you. It's not easy. It's not easy, but it is possible to get out by the mercy of constant our endeavor not to fall for it. And also we can pray to Guru Krishna. And we have to assess our ability also. Who are we? We are finite beings. We are not infinite. It seems like I can do whatever I want. I can judge anybody. No, really, we can't. Willpower is a finite resource. We must use it wisely. Our willpower is finite, means we can fight only so many battles against temptation. Just by living and functioning in the world, our senses, especially our eyes, encounter many alluring objects. I give you one example. I'm not going to mention the name because that Maharaj, he's back again as a sannyasi. Well, maybe I don't give too much details about it. But he's such a loving.
Thank you, Prabhu, for this wonderful class. And I remember this was a discussion which I had when I don't know whether it was the first canto when I started reading with my son. or I don't know whether it was a lecture which we're attending, and this same thing came up. And then because these are new generations, they are talking like they talk with the other gender, and they are so free, right? So it was very hard for him to digest. So now, like the reasons which you gave, that perfectly makes sense. So I just had a query, like, was Chota Haridas a sannyasi that time?
Sannyasi not necessarily wearing dress of a sannyas. And Prabhupada's explanation is when you live with a sannyasi as a assistant, your activity, everything reflect as a sannyasi. See, Mahaprabhu even needed a sannyasi. He had a hello. Sorry, some interruption was there. So in that sense, yes, he is a sannyasi. Just like Nityananda Prabhu, he never took sannyas. But Abhudut is also another name of sannyasi, kind of. You know, he actually also did similar things. But those Brahmana, if you remember, the Brahmana in Uddharandatta Thakur's area, the Brahmanas were very fanatics. And they did not approve Hare Krishna movement. But Nityananda Prabhu is such a lovable person. Nityananda Prabhu created an atmosphere that Brahmana were purified through regretting. What did Nityananda Prabhu do? He went outside, and those Matajis, Uddharandatta Thakur's place, the Matajis, all the ladies, they just love Nityananda Prabhu. They dress him like a Mr. T. Are you familiar with Mr. T in America?
No, Prabhu.
Okay, Mr. T means just imagine a sannyas dress. Person has a diamond gold crown with a 10-20 beautiful necklace, diamond necklace, gold necklace, pure gold, bangles, all the 20 rings on his finger, toe rings. I mean, what would you think? Is he a sannyasi or is he a bogi? And I mean, you cannot identify. But his activity is very strange because he really make people devotee. He glanced over all these Muslim guys. They're going to the market to sell on their bak. Bak means a kind of a stick that hold the things on two sides, and they put on their shoulder and they go to the market. In India village, they still do it. So Nityananda Prabhu thought, okay, these Brahmanas don't want Krishna consciousness and they don't allow anybody to have it. I'm going to do it. So he made all these Muslim guys fell in love in Krishna consciousness. And instead of chanting Allah or they don't know what to do, and they all of a sudden started chanting Krishna, Krishna, and they're rolling on the ground and they're crying, and the Brahmanas are walking by and they're chanting verses. They're singing glorification there, but they're Muslims. How is this? Who is doing this? Then they found out it's Nityananda Prabhu. Then they're like, unbelievable. How can possible a Muslim is exhibiting sattik bhav, ecstasy in their body? So eventually they all went to Mahaprabhu because Mahaprabhu was like a pakka Brahman, like do not mix like Nityananda Prabhu. But Mahaprabhu is doing this to Nityananda Prabhu, just like Mahaprabhu did to Junior Haridas. So then Mahaprabhu says, Jaddapi Nityananda Suravari Jai, Tathapi se Nityananda Rai, Swarupa Nityananda Rai. Even if you see Nityananda Prabhu in alcohol, winery or bar, he's still 100% pure. Nothing contaminates him. Everything he's doing only for one purpose, to revive the dormant love. So some of the activities of our sannyasi maybe not pleasant, but that's the only way that if you really knew his life of that person, it will take probably another 1,000 life for him to come to Krishna consciousness. That's why when Prabhupada gave the class in the morning, he says, Jasanto antagata papam, jananam punna karmana, tedanda moha nirmukta bhajante mam dhriyabrata. In order to have a convictional devotion, dhriyabrata, You have to have a piety from last life and this life. Immediately one disciple raised hand. He said, Prabhupada, my mother was eating beef and I grew up of eating beef until I met you. I did not do any piety. I don't know last life, but this life, nothing. It's all sinful, eating cow, growing up until I just joined and you delivered me. Prabhupada said, yes, I made you fortune. So, yes, they come with, at least they have come to surrender. Maybe they are all their impression not completely destroyed. But as Prabhupada says, we are all in a shower. You know the concept of bathroom? Well, I don't mean like a private bathroom. Like in a Mayapur, they have a long building has like a common bathroom. And everybody is in shower. And if you tell, Prabhupada says, if you tell somebody, excuse me, you still have a dirt, you don't need to tell that person. He's in the shower, eventually it will wash out. Only thing, best thing we can do, if we can have a compassionate heart, how to help that person. To remind Prabhupada, to remind Krishna and bring that back, bring him or her back. Then Prabhupada will be happy, Nityananda Prabhu will be happy. Dastari loivami punnaha bekam. Nityananda Prabhu says, I will take a note every time you help another devotee. This is so kind. So, two things, bottom line, that we can avoid those topics or those scenarios that give us not comfortable feeling. So we have to restrain. At the same time, if we don't give the devil his due, he will take more than his due. Means if there is some deep impression is there, it's better we engage that in a purificatory process instead of like suppression or avoiding. So this two way we can progress. I hope that gives you some answer.
Yes, yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Thank you. Because that time it was his question was like, isn't like we have to look at the soul, not at the body. So how does it matter that it is a female body or a male body? So I had hard time explaining him this, but this approach of yours really helps a lot. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other reflection or we close?
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for your very kind answers and for your patience in answering everyone's questions. Thank you very much, Prabhu. And we really beg forgiveness for any inappropriate questions on the forum. And it's a kind request as one of the organizers to avoid controversial questions on the forum. If you have questions, please ask privately. It's a humble request. And these classes are being recorded, and Prabhuji is a very fine speaker. So we kindly request to refrain from all this, Prabhuji, and we are very grateful to you for coming on the call. Hare Krishna. We can
Thank you for allowing me to serve. So we close now?
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Ancha kalpatarubhyasya
Kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha
patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Antagani Vaishnavrinda ki jai,
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Prabhuji ki jai.
Jai.